Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be finishing our read through of this book, History of the World, Map by Map. Now, if you're just joining the series, I do welcome you, even though this is going to be the last episode in the series. So I will be sure to link the playlist up in the corner there of every map in this book. How exciting. It's kind of cool that we actually finished it, but very bittersweet because I really enjoyed this series. If you don't know, this is an unscripted series. I read these maps for the first time with you. I've only read the titles, and yeah, I'm kind of bummed because this was really fun to film. You really got to hear me unfiltered, unscripted, rambling, making mistakes, things like that. And yeah, that's the end. So before we get into it, what do you think we should do to continue? Because I also have the Battles Map by Map book, which you guys enjoyed when I was doing that. It's just that I don't think that battles and warfare is very relaxing, so I did try to make it as relaxing as I could. You guys seemed to like it, but it didn't feel very relaxing for me. But I will continue that book if you want me to. Just let me know. They also just put out the History of North America Map by Map. I'd have to purchase that book, but we can also start that if you guys really want to hear History of North America, because it's a Smithsonian book. Smithsonian's in North America, in Washington, D.C. But I do have some other ideas. If you want to hear something different, that's kind of in a similar vein, going through maps unscripted, let me know too. Let me know which one you want. Do you want me to continue the battles? Do you want me to read the North America book next? Or try something a little bit different? Let me know. So sorry for the kitten scratches all over me. I just trimmed my kitten's claws, so this should be no more for a while, but yeah, she's a little monster. But anyway, this is the new edition. I've been reading to you the first edition. This is the new one, and it has 3 new maps. Technically 4, but we read the other one last time about COVID-19. So 3 new maps that weren't in the last book, so we're going to read those together. So I have to flip. I have my notes up around the corner here that you can't see to know which pages to turn to. So here's the first new map about calendar systems. Let me get this over here. Calendar systems. So let's see. Oh my gosh, this still has new book smell. It smells so good. Number 1, Mesolithic and Neolithic Europe. Let me lean in a little closer here. Hold on. Circa 8000 to 2000 BCE. Monuments such as the stone circle at Stonehenge in England and the burial chamber at Newgrange, Ireland, are thought to have functioned as calendars. Associated with religious ritual, the sites are believed to have been designed to mark astronomical phenomena, such as the phases of the moon or direction of the sunrise and sunset on solstices and equinoxes, providing reference points for the year. So key Mesolithic and Neolithic sites are shown by this blue diamond. And we can see this one in Warrenfield, Newgrange, and Stonehenge. Now there's many others, but they're not listed, so that's fine, I guess. That's fine. I guess that's just the ones from this time period, right? That makes sense. Let's talk about the Egyptian calendar from 2500 BCE. In Egypt, the key importance of the Nile's flood cycle drove the development of a calendar with 3 seasons: flood, emergence, and low water, linked to the appearance of the star Sothis, which is Sirius as we know it today. By circa 2700 BCE, the Egyptians had a lunisolar calendar based on the movements of Sothis, and a civil calendar fixed at 365 days. The rising of Sothis and civil new year coincided every 1,460 years, marking the start of a new Sothic cycle. That's interesting. So this Egyptian region of development is shown by orange, which we can see, following the Nile River here in Egypt, and probably a bit into Sudan as well. And the influence of the Egyptian calendar, we can see, moves over here to Kish in Mesopotamia, and all the way into India. I'm sure we'll read about it in the little boxes there. Next we have the Babylonian and 7-day week from 1800 BCE. The Babylonian lunar calendar was derived from earlier Mesopotamian systems that existed around 3400 BCE. Its influence is felt to this day because the Babylonians divided their months into 7-day periods, because a lunar month was a multiple of 7. The Babylonian calendar informed the Hebrew calendar, through which the 7-day week spread to the Roman Empire. So we can thank the Babylonians for 7 days a week. That's so cool. So Hebraic region of development is dark green here. We can see that here in the Levant. Today's Israel, Lebanon, Palestine, so on and so forth. Mesopotamian region of development is a bit lighter green, and that's here in Mesopotamia, along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. And the influence of the Babylonian calendar we can see moving into Greece and Athens, and into Italy, up into Rome. Next we have the Chinese calendar from 1300 BCE. Chinese astronomers had a good understanding of solar and lunar cycles by 1300 BCE. Over the centuries, they experimented with intercalation. I've never heard that word. This book really uses a lot of vocab words I've never heard of. And then someone in the comments explains it, and I'm like, cool, now I know. Intercalation. Goodness. Inserting 7 months into a 19-year period. This method was revised in the 3rd century BCE into the Ershisi Jikchi. That word. A cycle that required detailed observation and knowledge of Earth's yearly journey around the sun. The resulting calendar, the Yin-Yangli, spread throughout Southeast Asia and into Korea and Japan. So Chinese region of development is shown by this really pretty purple color. We can see all here throughout eastern China. There's Anyang. And the influence is spreading down here into Southeast Asia, into Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, so on and so forth, and into the Korean Peninsula, and over to Japan. Roman calendars from circa 753 BCE. If you didn't know, I have dyscalculia. Look it up. 7s look like 1s and 3s to me. 3s look like 8s. So on and so forth. So if I ever mess up a number, that's why. The Romans initially relied on a lunar-solar calendar, but by the time of Julius Caesar, which was between 100 to 44 BCE, poor record-keeping caused the calendar to fall out of step with the seasons, with the summer months arriving in the spring. To correct this, Caesar adopted a 365 solar year, which with 1 day added every 4th year, leap year. The Julian calendar spread across the vast Roman Empire and was the basis of the Gregorian calendar, which was introduced in 1582, used in many parts of the world today. So the extent of the Roman Empire in the 2nd century CE is shown by pink here, and we can see it up here in Europe, for here England and Wales today, throughout France and throughout Central Europe, around the Black Sea, into Turkey, and Northern Africa, Egypt, of course, very famously, along the coast of Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco. And the influence of the Julian calendar is spreading out here, to there, out to there, down there, over here to the Iberian Peninsula, and across the Mediterranean. Yeah, Russia used the Julian calendar until the revolution, didn't they? Isn't it Lenin that... Was it Lenin that made them follow Gregorian? I don't remember. I could be wrong. And then we have the Mayan calendar, probably the most famous ancient calendar, I think, from circa 250 CE. The Maya based their calendar system on both a ritual cycle of 260 named days and a year of 365 days, which ran concurrently. Consecutive years formed a longer cycle known as a calendar round, which repeated every 18,980 days or 52 years. They used a separate long count calendar to specify dates over periods longer than 52 years. The Mayan calendar was the basis for the calendars used by the other pre-Columbian civilizations, including the Aztecs. So the Maya are shown by this kind of tangerine, reddish-orange color. And here we are. There's Tikal, here across the Yucatan into Colombia and southern Mexico. And their influence is heading up into central Mexico, which, like they said, was the home of the Aztecs eventually. Alright, let's see all these little boxes here. Let's start over here while we're here. Circa 1600 BCE, the mound-building Poverty Point culture is thought to have erected giant posts that served a calendrical function. That's pretty cool. Like I said, there are all kinds of places that made their own big megalithic calendars. 3114 BCE, the Maya placed the start of the first great cycle at 3114 BCE. This period of 5,125 years ended on December 21st, 2012. Who remembers where they were on December 21st, 2012? I do. It was a very uneventful day. Nothing happened. Even though everyone thought that would be the end of the world. They even made a whole movie called 2012 about it. It was a really bad movie. But nothing happened, obviously, because we're still here. Or did it? Are we on a different timeline? Oh my gosh. Moving on, circa 500 CE, the Maya identify each day in 4 ways: by day number and by day name in the 260-day cycle, by day number within the month, and by month name in the 365-day cycle. That's a lot of names. Can't possibly remember all those names, could you? Like, at least 365 names, or like far more. Circa 2200 BCE, ancient Peruvian people built temples that serve as calendars by marking the alignment of constellations. I think one of those sites was added to UNESCO World Heritage 2 years ago. I didn't know about that. It was pretty neat. Circa 18,000 years ago, dots in cave paintings in Lascaux, France are thought to be a very early calendar. Yeah. Circa 8000 BCE, at Warrenfield, Scotland, 12 pits correlating with the phases of the moon create the world's oldest lunar calendar. Wow. Circa 538 BCE, the Hebrew calendar, based on the Babylonian calendar, is adopted. It dates to a period, the Babylonian exile, when many Jews were held captive in Babylon. That makes sense. So they came up with that calendar when they were forced to move to Babylon. Circa 500. I'm not laughing at the situation. It's just, that makes a lot of sense. I never thought about that. That of course they would learn the Babylonian calendar while they were exiled. And when they were unexiled and went back, they had a new calendar. Makes sense. Circa 500 BCE. Astronomers in Greece adopted the Babylonian methods of inserting 7 months in a 19-year cycle, naming it the Metonic cycle. Metonic cycle? I'm not sure. Interesting name, though. In 46 BCE, the introduction of the Julian calendar causes a year of confusion, in which the number of days is increased to 446 to bring the start of the year back to the vernal equinox. What a long year. You know, there's long years and then there's a long year. Circa 300 BCE, the Borana people? I can't tell, there's a line of latitude there. I think that's an N. The Borana people of Ethiopia develop a calendar of 354 days based on their observations of 7 stars. Circa 25 BCE, Zoroastrians of Persia adopt the Egyptian calendar shortly after the conquest of Egypt by the Achaemenid ruler Cambyses. Makes a lot of sense too. Never thought about Zoroastrians' calendars. That makes sense. Circa 633 CE, the Zoroastrian calendar is used by Parsis of India following their escape from Persia after Muslim conquest. Yeah, I wondered why this arrow went all the way into India. That's interesting. No boxes for China, but we do have a box down here in New Zealand. It says circa 8000 BCE, the Maori lunar calendar divides the year into 12 months. Now, they didn't live in New Zealand in 8000 BCE, but that's when their calendar began, and they used 12 months. Pretty interesting. There's a Mayan calendar here. Very cool. I learned a lot on this page. This was neat. I liked it. Let's learn some other cool facts. Page 52. Iron Age Africa, this map is called. Iron Age Africa. I see a Nok statue over here. And the Nok culture. You can't see it. There it is. From the Nok culture. Beautiful artwork from that area in Nigeria. I guess we'll read about it. We're going to start down here with the Bantu migration, it looks like. Movement of Bantu speakers circa 2000 BCE to 500 CE. Archaeological evidence points to a southerly migration of Bantu-speaking peoples from their homeland in modern-day eastern Nigeria and western Cameroon from 2000 BCE. These people cleared forests and engaged in mixed farming, establishing new societies that were, once ironworking also arrived, capable of sustaining large populations. So the Bantu homeland in 2000 BCE is shown by yellow, which we can see over here. And yeah, like it says, eastern Nigeria, western Cameroon. Then the northwestern Bantu by 500 CE are shown by light orange. Let's see, light orange. I guess that's this one. Why is it all dotted? Do we know why it's all dotted? I guess it'll tell us. It'll tell us in another box why it's all dotted. So I guess that's this color here. Then Eastern Bantu by 500 CE is a darker orange, so that's all the way down here. All the way down into South Africa. And then the Western Bantu by 500 CE, the Western Bantu by 500 CE are all over here. Right? Yeah, west. All throughout here. Yeah, Bantu migration spread all down here in Africa. Throughout many, many years, of course. The Nok culture from 600 to 200 BCE. One of the earliest societies of West Africa, the Nok culture is known for its terracotta sculptures as much as for its iron. Nok figures are characterized by oversized heads and triangular or oval-shaped eyes. The sculptures have been found across a wide-ranging area, suggesting they emerged from a large and well-organized civilization. So the Nok early Iron Age sculpture from 600 to 200 BCE, shown by this really pretty blue, which we can see there. There's Nok right there. In Nigeria. Then we have the spread of ironworking circa 600 BCE to the 3rd century CE. Hold on, I'm going to adjust my seat. Okay. I'm sitting kind of awkwardly. That's much better. The Nok culture is believed to have developed ironworking independently around 600 BCE, probably the only instance where iron, rather than bronze, was first to be smelted. That's interesting. Other centers of iron production arose, such as that around Lake Victoria, and the technology, along with iron tools, crop cultivation, and livestock domestication, had spread far south by the 3rd century CE. The possible route of spread of ironworking from 600 BCE to 400 CE are shown by these blue arrows. And there's a lot of them. Hold on. They start up north here. So I guess it came from the Levant here, down into Napata and the Kushites there, through Egypt, here to the desert, up to Carthage, and then over to Mogador, down into Gao, and down here to Janae. Then from the Nok, they move down here to, what's that say? Muil? I can't see from all the little dots. I still can't read it. Muila, I think it says. Muila down here. And then down to, Qatar. I can't, all the dots are in the way. I can't read it. To Lake Victoria. And then down here to where I can read, because there's no dots, to Cap Wirimbwe. Cap Wirimbwe. It sounds like it's in Zimbabwe, maybe Zambia, but the looks of it, I can't really tell. I guess that's the river, huh? So that would be Zambia, I believe. That's all the arrows. Okay. So next we have the Garamantes. I've never heard of this. I'm going to learn something. Garamantes. I think that's how you say that. Let me know if I'm very wrong. From 1000 BCE to 600 CE. The kingdom of the Garamantes arose in the Fezzan region of Libya from around 1000 BCE. The large population herded cattle and farmed, developing a sophisticated irrigation system. The Garamantes used chariots, and the chariot motif made its way into neighboring cultures, appearing in rock art across North and into West Africa. I guess that makes sense. I haven't done a video in the Fezzan yet. It's only been in Cyrenaica if I'm in Libya. That makes sense. Evidence of chariot rock art is shown by these, like, brown diamonds. Holy moly, look at all these brown diamonds. They're Garamantes, and their kingdoms are 150 CEs right here. And then look at all these diamonds. All showing chariots. And down here in Chennai. Wow, that's a lot of chariot art. It's pretty cool. Then we have, now listen, I've been told by one of my Algerian viewers that this word is now considered a slur in Algeria. So I'm not going to use this since it comes from the Roman word for barbarian, right? So it's very rude nowadays to use this word. So I'm going to go by their actual name, the Amazigh states. 300 BCE to 117 CE. From 300 BCE, the Amazigh peoples of the western part of North Africa, like the Maori, the Maasai. Hold on, I've never seen this word either. Maasai. What's a pretty name? Maasai. And the Maasili began to form states. These are so pretty. In 201 BCE, the ruler Massinissa, and I've heard of Massinissa, okay, in alliance with Rome, united the kingdoms of Massili and Maasai into Numidia. Now I've heard of Numidia. How interesting. And his grandson Jugurtha. Definitely heard of Jugurtha. His grandson Jugurtha incited war with Rome in 104 BCE, only to see his territory absorbed into the empire. So the Amazigh states are shown by a purple border, which is up here, all throughout the coast there. And then the extent of the Roman Empire by 117 CE is shown by purple. So they've got all of Southern Europe, Western Europe, Italy, the islands, the Mediterranean, cross into Turkey. They have the whole Levant. They've got lots of Persia. They've got Egypt. And they've got the North African coast. So yeah, they absorbed Numidia, which would have been like here-ish. Around here-ish. Then we have Southern Africa from 600 BCE to 200 CE. Ironworking became established in the areas of modern-day Namibia and the Cape of South Africa after 300 CE. The Khoisan people there largely continued living in mobile hunting and gathering groups, although some had begun domesticating sheep in the 2nd century CE. The use of stone tools persisted long after iron had come to dominate the rest of Africa. The late Stone Age settlements, circa 300 to 600 BCE, are shown by green diamonds, which we can see over here. Zyfontaine, Glen Elliot, Wilton, and Shongweni. And then evidence of sheep domestication, the late Stone Age, are shown by little green sheepies. Let's see if I can get some of these names. It looks like some of them are Afrikaans, and some are in English, like Alan's Bay. Then we've got Nelson's Bay, and then the rest look like Afrikaans. Olieboompoort, Mirabib, that doesn't sound Afrikaans, but Dikbosch, Boomplatz. Afrikaans is fun. It sounds like you're speaking Dutch, but you're really, really drunk. Afrikaans is a great language. Kingdom of Kush at Meroe, 300 BCE to 330 CE. The ancient kingdom of Kush rolled over Nubia, the land along the Nile to the south of Egypt, from the 8th century BCE. By the 3rd century BCE, its capital, Meroe, with easy access to the Red Sea, became very prosperous through trade, especially in ironware and ceramics. The kingdom flourished until Meroe was destroyed by invading Aksumites, circa 330 BCE. So the kingdom of Kush in 300 CE, around there, is shown by pink. You can see up here, this is one of my bucket list locations. I don't know when it will be safe to visit northern Sudan, but I would love to see the pyramids near Meroe and the other religious sites along the Nile here from the Kushites. They're so cool. Especially the pyramids. I love the little pyramids. Now let's see all these boxes. Let's start up north here. It says circa 600 BCE, Phoenicians from the eastern Mediterranean possibly bring ironworking to North Africa. Now that makes sense. It was the Phoenicians because they went all over the place. 74 BCE, Cyrenaica becomes a province of Rome. There's Cyrene. 150 CE, Garama has a population of around 4,000. Of this place. I'll have to Google it after this and learn more about it. Maybe some people can drop some facts about them in the comments. 30 BCE, Egypt becomes a province of Rome. Very very famous. After defeating Cleopatra and Mark Antony, the Battle of Actium. 330 CE, Meroe falls to the Aksumite kingdom. I've always thought Meroe was a pretty name, like even a human named Meroe. I know Nubia gets thrown around as like a girl's name, but Meroe I think is prettier. No offense to any Nubias out there. 400 BCE, ironwork begins in the Ethiopian highlands there at Aksum. And 525 to 74 BCE, Aksumite armies occupy the southern Arabian Peninsula. What else do we have? Oh, there's more. But what were these diamonds for? Oh, did we not look at these? I think we just looked at the arrows. Oh, darn. Okay, hold on. Sorry if anyone was screaming at their screen, being like, you skipped these. I'm sorry. Early Iron Age settlements from 600 BCE to 300 BCE are shown by all of these diamonds. Now, there's way too many to start saying them, so let's just say the ones that I know. So, of course, we have Gao and Janae. The Nog, of course, very, very famous. We still haven't find out why this is all dotted. Why is this all dotted? What's up with the dots? Oh, here we go. Equatorial rainforest. Thanks. I'm glad that you marked the rainforest. Now I can't read what these say. But anyway, what else do we have? Here throughout Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya. We've got Sangha. We've got, what else have I heard of? Ziwa, of course, Great Zimbabwe's famous one. Down here into South Africa. Haven't heard of these, but anyway. Chondwe. We've got Dambwa. Leopards, Copia. Castle Cavern, Borderstrom, Kope, and then even here in the rainforest, which I can't read this. Zabi, I think that's what it says. The dots, it's very hard to read. Then we have major early ironworking sites with date by this ingot here. So let's find those. We have this one here in the Nok. Over here in Meroe. I don't see any more. Do you see? Oh, there we go. In goodness, Katuka. I think that's what it says. All those dots are in the way. By Lake Victoria. I don't see any more. But okay. What were we doing? Boxes. 600 BCE, the Nok independently developed the technology to smelt iron. Isn't that incredible? They figured out iron before copper. Goodness, that's incredible. Circa 200 to 1000 BCE, approximate origins of the Proto-Bantu language. Are there any more boxes? What the? There's no boxes down here in South Africa. Okay. But that's okay, because we have one more map to move on to, and this is already kind of running a little longer than I expected, but that's okay. We're going to leap way into history. Okay, not that far. To page 174. To the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Let's go way into history. To the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Let's read about it. Starting with this box up here. The founding of the Commonwealth in 1569. In July 1569, the Union of Lublin formalized the ties between the Kingdom of Poland and the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, both ruled since 1386 by the Jagiellonian dynasty. Jagiellonian. Poland was greatly enlarged by the Union. Jogaila, right, was his name anyway. Gaining Ukraine from Lithuania and becoming the dominant partner. The monarch, who was both king and duke, ruled a territory of almost 400,000 square miles, which is about 1 million square kilometers. So let's see, the Union of Poland and Lithuania. The Kingdom of Poland in 1562 is shown by this olive green, which you can see over here. Then the fiefs of the Polish crown, slightly darker green over here. And down here, it's also all dotted, making it very hard to read. Anyway, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Oh wait, this is the... Okay, fiefs of the Polish crown that looks like Ducal Persia and Courland. And Lithuanian Duchy, Grand Duchy of Lithuania is this, oh, through this pink nonsense. I guess we'll find out what that is. All throughout here. Down into Ukraine. Goodness. It's so strange because Lithuania is not a very large country. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's not stretching across all of Eastern Europe here. to Russia. And then added to the Commonwealth in 1561 to 1585 is all of this green up here into Livonia. Very interesting. And there's Riga. So that's all Latvia today. Yeah, at one point it was the biggest country in Europe, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Let's read about the Polish-Russian War from 1609 to 1618. A succession crisis in Russia in 1598 emboldened the Polish king Sigismund III Vasa to declare war in 1609. Commonwealth forces besieged Smolensk in 1609 and entered Moscow in 1610, but were driven back in 1612. Sigismund's 1617 campaign to secure the Russian Tsardom for his son also failed, and peace was secured in 1618 with the Truce of Dulina, which extended to the Commonwealth. The Polish-Lithuanian campaign between 1609 and 1612 is shown by a yellow arrow, heading out from Minsk up to Smolensk and into Moscow. And then the campaign from 1617 to 18 is a brown arrow from Smolensk to Moscow. The eastern border of Commonwealth at Truce of Dulino is shown by the brown dots here. So it's all this here into Russia. They got Smolensk, they've got Chernigov, and down to there. Then we have, that's a word. That is certainly a long word. Khmelnytsky Uprising. Khmelnytsky Uprising, 1648 to 1657. Looks like some Ukrainian words here. The Zaporozhian Cossacks, definitely Ukrainian, were a fiercely independent military organization based in Ukraine. In 1648, the Cossack hetman, which was the chief, Bohdan Khmelnytsky, sparked an insurrection that drew the Ukrainian peasants, angry at what they saw as Polish tyranny. After successfully campaigning across Ukraine and into Poland and gaining concessions for the Cossacks, Khmelnytsky returned to Kiev and established a Cossack state, or hetmanate. When in 1654 he sought the protection of Russia, the Commonwealth was drawn into war with its eastern neighbor. So major battles are shown by pink swords here. We can see here at Schwanitz and Berezhko and Sporiv. Goodness. Apologies to any Poles or Ukrainians out there. We also have, and I think this is how you say it because it's covered in dots, Shvadelvodi. There too. Alright, Cossack camp are shown by little tents. So right here at Starosich, I think it says. It's making it impossible. Cossack state in 1647 is all this pink nonsense here. You can see Kiev right there. And yeah, all of that. Other lands at times of Cossack rule is all of this dotted nonsense down here in Ukraine, making it very hard to read. And then Khmelnytsky's 1648 campaign is this pink arrow. So they're heading out from this place. I can't tell if that's an I or an L. Thanks, dots. Thanks, Cossacks. It's not the Cossacks' fault. Heading here through Korsun, up to Sporiv, through what's now Lvov, called Lemberg then it looks like, into Zamość, I think. Goodness. Anyway, the deluge. Holy moly, what's the deluge? 1655 to 1667. With Poland in conflict with Russia and the Cossacks, the Swedes are getting involved. The Swedish army invaded in 1655. The Polish king John Casimir went into hiding, and Carl Gustav of Sweden was accepted as monarch. In 1656, John Casimir staged a comeback, forcing the Swedes to withdraw and making peace in 1660. The The Russians were defeated in 1662 and the Cossack War ended in 1667. The Swedes invaded in 1655. Look at this nonsense. What are these Swedish people doing? All throughout here. Warsaw, Krakow, back and forth. Heading this way and that way to Königsberg. From this way from Riga. Over to there. Goodness. They're all over the place. Yeah, if you didn't know, Sweden used to be like super pro-war and would like, if you sneezed in their direction, they would declare war on you. And then they just lost so many wars and they were going bankrupt. They said no more wars ever and they've stuck to it. Let's see, main routes of Polish forces are shown by the white arrows here from Warsaw to Krakow, as we say it in English. Cities besieged by Sweden. So we have Poznan, then called Posen, Elbląg, and then of course Warsaw and Krakow, and Vilna over here too. Western limits of Russian advance, 1655, are light blue dots, so all throughout here. It's as far as the Russians got that year. And then the eastern limits of the Swedish advance in 1665 are the blue dots. Following along, they cut into that Russian territory a bit. Cities besieged by Russian Cossack forces are surrounded by light blue. Oh, that's Vilna. Okay, so they took this city, but the Swedes took these. Oh, Thorn also. Interesting. The Deluge. What a great name for an invasion. The Deluge. Let's read these boxes. Should we read these and then this one? Let's read these first. Let's finish this map. Let's see. July 1655, Swedish armies enter Greater Poland and the Polish capitulate at Ushi. Okay, that place. October 13th, 1665, Krakow, the ancient capital of Poland, falls to the Swedish army. September 8th, 1655, the Swedish army captures the capital Warsaw. Polish troops regained it in June 1656. So almost a year they had Warsaw. Circa 1561, spanning modern-day Estonia and Latvia, Livonia falls to the Grand Duchy of Lithuania during the Livonian War, which was between 1558 and 1583, and becomes a dependent vassal. June 13th, 1611, after a 20-month siege, Polish-Lithuanian forces breach Smolensk's walls with a mine placed in a sewer and capture the town. I mean, good idea. Horrible. Blew up their sewer, but that's one way to invade a city. From September 1st to 3rd, 1612, in the Battle of Moscow, a Polish-Lithuanian force attempting to rescue the Polish garrison besieged in the Kremlin is forced back. January 1654, the Cossacks pledge allegiance to the Tsar in return for Russia's military protection. Now, if you learn your history, there's one thing you know is you never ask Imperial Russia for help. They'll help, but at what cost, right? July 1st, 1569, Ukraine becomes part of the Kingdom of Poland under the terms of the Union of Lublin. April 29th to May 26th, 1648, the Cossacks defeat the Polish army in the first engagement of the uprising as Shvavtivody. That is an I. Shvavtivody, before routing the Polish at Korsun. Okay. January 25th, 1648. Khmelnytsky breaks through Polish forces guarding the Cossack camp at the Stara Sich. The Cossacks subsequently elect him hetman. Oh, there's one more. August 18th, 1645, the Treaty of Zborov secures concessions for the Cossacks, banning the Polish army from Kiev, Chernigov, and Braklov. Okay, I tried. Let's see if I have to say more Polish words, or hopefully no more Ukrainian words. I just have to deal with Polish. Number 5, Reform and Rebellion, 1768 to 1795. In 1768, the Commonwealth became a Russian protectorate, with Stanislav II Poniatowski installed as king by the Russian Empress Catherine the Great. His attempts at internal reform met with threats from the Empress and revolts by his own nobles, who formed the Bar Confederation to resist both king and empress. Wasn't that one of her boyfriends that she's like, you know what? I'll make you king of Poland. Why not? Major battles during this reform are shown by these swords here. So we've got, more Polish for sure. Stolorica. We've got this, I think that's at La Corona. We got, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to begin to pronounce this. I'm so sorry. And then Bar. And over here in western Ukraine, up there in Kachinya, looks like, Vilin, up there. And then fortresses besieged by Confederates are shown by little fortresses. So right here at Czestochowa, over here at Zips, over here at this place, let me try, Okopi, I have no idea, and a bar, a good old bar right there. Partitions, Poland's getting partitioned, guys. 1772 to 1795. On August 5th, 1772, Russia, Austria, and Prussia signed a treaty partitioning Poland-Lithuania, depriving it of 1/3 of its territory. Faced with Polish resistance, Russia and Prussia invaded and agreed a second partition in 1793. They intervened again to quash an uprising led by Polish officer Tadeusz not Kosciuszko like the mountain in Australia, Kosciuszko, and in 1795 divided the remnants between themselves and Austria. There he is right there. Poland went from being the largest country in Europe to just not existing after 1795. Polish-Lithuania before the partitions is all this purple here. All throughout. Hopefully it's in frame. Yeah, okay, good. All throughout here. This is East Prussia right there. Russian gains over here, 1772, 1793, and 1795. They've got all of Lithuania there. Prussian gains, 1772, I think that's here. Yeah. 1773 and 1775. And Austrian gains in 1772 and 1795. Yeah, pretty wild that just Poland got gobbled up by various countries. But the good news is that Poland is around today with Polish people speaking Polish, and we're very grateful for that. We love Poland, even though I cannot pronounce Polish. Poland is, I've got Poland up on the atlas here. Good old Poland is still around today. But that is it for tonight. You guys, we finished the book. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Let's walk down memory lane. The Opium Wars, remember this? I remember reading that. Japan Transformed. Yeah, I remember doing these maps. I think that was when we were staying at the Airbnb when we just moved to Idaho and we hadn't bought our house yet. We have the house now. Communist China, remember that? Oh, the Cold War one. This end of this book has a whole timeline of human history. Just like breaking it down to like you get to this point, it's just year by year human history. Crazy. What else do we have? Exchange. I think I remember this map. Trading maps. European exploration. The ascent of Islam. Going so far back, I don't remember doing some of these, but I know I did them. Like, I know I did Spread of Buddhism. I just don't quite remember it. I remember doing the very first one about the Australopithecines and all that. Yeah, this one. Because I was in the middle of... You know what happened? Was I cracked open this book. There's my squeaky chair because I straightened my back. I cracked open this book, I hit record, and I realized that I hadn't read the maps in advance. And I was like, whatever, we're doing it live. And then it was kind of fun. And I was like, you know what, I should do that for every map in this book. And here we are today. I did it for every map in this book. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh. See, like, if you want, I can read to you all these pages. We can go to the ones with big art on them. Let's see another one with big art. Enjoy some page turning sounds. Come on. Here we go, like a big picture here, and I can read to you about, this is the Bronze Age collapse. I can read those to you if you want. Let me know what we should do moving on, because we finished the book, you guys. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, but now I get to go through this book and just read it at my own leisure, finally. Finally, I'm so excited. But thank you so much for watching. If you watched this whole series, let me know. Let me know what was your favorite episode. And please don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you're still awake and watching. Click the thumbs up button and drop me a comment down below. At least leave me a congrats for reading this whole book on your channel. It took me, about a year and a half to do it, I think. I'll have to go look at the date I posted the first video. And I hope that you found this video relaxing and educational. I sure did. And I hope that you have a good